Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. So this is Liam broadcasting on behalf of the Hologrumps because we made a huge error with our last video. But in any case, if you like what you see here, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button because we will be reviewing episodes of the original series as we so desire. So, we just came on a bit of news that was reported by Trek Movie, and this was regarding Jeffrey Combs. Now, some people may remember, they may have seen the tweet that Jeffrey Combs put out in relation to fan interest on him playing the role of Dr. Boyce in Strange New Worlds. His tweet read, "The chasm between what fans want and the studios want make the chances of it happening slim to none." So Combs stated that he was surprised by the response to his tweet and wanted to make it clear that this tweet that he put out did not mean that he's not interested in playing the role. In fact, if anything, it was the reverse. He said, "Some people were saying, Jeff says he doesn't want to do it, and that wasn't my point at all. My point was that there has always been a disconnect between fans, networks, and studios. It goes all the way back and is not just with Star Trek. There's often this disconnect, and that is what my tweet was about. What you want and what they want is most of the time not in harmony. I took it as a compliment that people wanted me to be part of it. It doesn't mean I wouldn't relish it and jump in and embrace it, but I have to be a bit of a realist here, and it is not likely." So Trek Movie agrees that there is, more often than not, a rift between what studios and fans want. But they also argue that it cannot be denied that CBS ordering Star Trek Strange New Worlds as a series grew out of a positive fan feedback, which in my opinion is true. They're trying to, so to speak, extend an olive branch to people with this show. So maybe they'll be reading the Twitter sphere and saying, oh, okay, well, this is what the fans want, let's just give it to them. But I have my own skepticism on that. Combs tells Trek Movie that while he would love the opportunity, he hasn't taken any proactive action. They will call you, you don't call them. He continues, it is a complicated decision-making process on their part that is incomprehensible how they come to decisions. According to Trek Movie, Combs did say that if there were an opportunity, working in Canada for an extended period wouldn't be an issue. That doesn't bother me, he says. I have done it before. Which, of course, CBS Trek has been filmed primarily in Canada, although Star Trek Picard, as far as I'm aware, was filmed in California. Jean-Luc or Patrick Stewart didn't want to leave the ranch. So I think it'd be great if Jeffrey Combs were to play the role of Dr. Boyce. Again, I don't think it'll happen. And CBS generally does a good job of showing that they're tone deaf to what the fans want. So they announced this show. Whether or not it goes ahead, that's a topic for another video that we've already made. So we'll move on to our next bit of news, and that is Lower Decks. Okay, so for anyone out there that doesn't know, Lower Decks is kind of a Rick and Morty type show that's based on characters that aren't that is based on characters that'd be more the like the lower level people of the starship. Just like ensigns that would take orders from like the chief engineer or so on and so on. So this could be an interesting take. This could be interesting. Emphasis on could. Apparently Kurtzman wanted it to be a kids show, but Mike Mahan basically said no. And he's going to make it Rick and Morty-like. So Kurtzman can go stuff it. And he can make his little Nickelodeon show or whatever he's making. So an important thing to note before we go any further is Lower Decks has no international distributor. So people in Europe, unless Netflix and Amazon suddenly realize, oh, CBS Trek is marketable, I don't think we'll be getting it anytime soon. But never know. Never know. So this piece of news is in response to Mike Mahan giving a teaser that season 2 of Lower Decks is already in the works. Now, it's entirely possible he was just joking because he's riffing off with a comedian, Paul F. Tompkins, in this Twitter exchange. He says to Paul, "Haha, well, consider yourself an alien. I'll have our casting folks reach out for season 2 episodes we're working on right now. Thanks." So, I'll put the tweet up here on the video, but it's entirely possible that, again, he's just riffing off with a comedian and he's joking and that there's no news here. But, you never know. Could be showing how strong the show is already testing and that they're already on to season 2. But again, there'd be a lot less budget in a cartoon, so that's okay. And then finally, the last bit of news to report is that William Shatner is still interested in returning to the Star Trek universe. But I don't know just how much news that is. I think it's well known that he'd love to return, but it's also always been well known that there will be no cameos for the Shatner. That if he was to come back, the story or the plot would have to be central around his character. Now, he hasn't necessarily ruled out making an appearance in an episode as the central character. But again, James T. Kirk is dead, so I don't know how he can return. Unless they want to do a deep fake on like Chris Pine, do a reshoot, a deep fake of all of the 2009 Star Trek films. That'd be funny. So anyway, what do you think of this news? Do you think Jeffrey Combs should play the role of Dr. Boyce in Strange New Worlds? Do you think Lower Decks should have a season 2? Although that's a tough question to answer since we haven't even seen season 1. And would you like to see William Shatner return to the Star Trek universe? Comment below and we'll be sure to respond to your comments and let you know what our opinions are in case you didn't gather them from these videos. So for the Hologrumps, I'm Liam, and remember, existence is futile.